Welcome to the Gleeful Meeple, a podcast all about board games where strategy meets laughter and ancient civilizations look like you're playing Tetris. In this episode, we're joined by a special guest to talk about all things card games. The aqueducts of Rome meet the Great Wall of China in this week's game of the show, World Wonders. And you, the Gleeples, get to play along as the hosts get put in the hot seat with this week's game challenge. So get your Tetris brain turned on and start building those roads to civilization, because we have pyramids, coliseums, amphitheaters, Trojan horses, and, well, a lot of wonders to build and a growing population. Let's go! Hello, fellow builders. This is James.
I'm Emily.
Hey, it's Dwayne.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hey, it's JK, and my favorite ice cream is butter pecan.
Yeah, that's a solid choice.
I
Okay,
think so.
I'm so glad you brought up ice cream because I heard about this a few days ago and I've been dying to try it, but for some reason I just can't stop by a store and buy vanilla ice cream. Apparently, vanilla ice cream, olive oil, and sea salt is supposed to be amazing.
I don't know.
Olive oil and ice cream?
Those are the words I said.
Wow.
Well, that's what
And
olive
sea
oil?
salt. I don't think you can miss the sea. I think the sea salt and the olive oil, it's some kind of chemical reaction. I don't know. I'm not a chemist, but apparently it's supposed to be very tasty.
Ew.
Well, that's what
know
there's
about
like
that.
olive oil lattes.
Well, now you know what's happening next time we get together to record.
I think it's an absolute
We're going to
must.
do this on the air. All right, good.
All right.
We've got a plan.
More importantly, what brand, JK?
See, that's a tough one.
Is it?
See, I really like Jenny's ice cream, but Jenny's
It's
butter
fine.
pecan is
Oh,
okay.
Jenny's is
Yeah.
so good.
I'd probably
Kristen's shaking her head.
I'd probably lean into Purity. I think Purity's probably my
Okay.
favorite.
Okay. Purity's good. When it comes to dairy products, I am a huge fan of Tillamook.
Yeah,
Their cheeses,
their
their ice
cheese,
creams,
great.
all on point.
I recently discovered, not recently, but somewhat recently, that your favorite flavor, and Bluebell is
Ooh.
delicious.
Bluebell is just a solid ice cream.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but try that out.
That's how I feel about Purity. I grew up on Purity moose tracks.
Yep. Purity, Ernest commercials. Yes.
No,
No.
I don't
No?
remember commercials.
You don't. Okay. Fair enough. Ernest.
No,
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I first ran into
I mean
Ernest
Ernest.
P.
Here's a
Worrell.
Who. That's my
Well, that's Horton. Here's a Who.
Oh, you're right. It
But
is.
you know Ernest from the Ernest movies, like Ernest,
Ernest goes to
Jail?
camp.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So he started off locally as a spokesperson for Purity Dairy. He talked to Vern, the cameraman, who was never seen, and he'd usually have some kind of accident, like electrocute himself on an air conditioner, or something funny like that. But yeah, and then he was so popular here, they took him and expanded him through in different areas. And as a kid, I found a tape that was a collection of all of his commercials, and it was weird to see him like shilling for other companies besides Purity.
I've also heard. I know people that have been in business meetings with him, and in business meetings, he is not at all like he is in the movies. Like just goofy and crazy and whatever. He's very
Like a shrewd businessman.
very stoic and serious.
Okay.
And just they said it was like night and day.
All right. We should start an Ernest podcast called The Importance of Being Earnest.
All right, guys, I have a riddle.
Okay.
We love riddles.
My brain is foggy today, but I will do what I can.
Well, that's good, JK, because this riddle is just for Dwayne.
Oh, wow. What a twist.
We have riddle spectators now, me and Emily.
Well, it's for Dwayne and it's for the listeners.
Okay.
Because you guys have already heard my riddle where I failed miserably.
Dwayne, have you listened to the most recent episode?
I see.
Well, no, Emily, it didn't matter because behind the curtain listeners, the last episode you might have noticed was a little
no
long.
riddle. Oh, yeah.
There was no riddle because some things just had to hit the cutting room floor. And I'll be honest, my riddle last week, I might have fumbled it a little bit.
Okay.
Like in the end zone, fumbled it. But because of that,
yeah.
it was a long piece of the recording. So when it came time for the to snip, and cut, there goes the riddle.
Zip, zap, riddle gone.
All right,
But
I understand.
I'm super happy now because one, I was really proud of this riddle until I messed it up. And two, if there's a riddle written for Dwayne, it's this riddle.
Oh,
So
no.
now Emily and I can stare at Dwayne awkwardly. If he fumbles this at all, I'd be like, come on, we figured it out.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm ready.
All right.
My body is ready.
My father is Thor, My cousin is Mel Gibson. My birthday is November 5th. What game am I?
Okay. My father is Thor. My cousin is Mel Gibson.
My birthday is November 5th.
Talk it out, Dwayne.
Talk it out.
Okay.
What stands
what
out?
are you
so
feeling?
Thor comes to mind. So I'm starting to think about Thor, like Marvel games or possibly Viking games. The Mel Gibson thing immediately takes me to Road Warrior. And it's the only connection I have there because we call it Road Warrior, the board game, or Mad Max, the board game. Thunder Road. There's the Thor connection. Thunder Road Vendetta. V for Vendetta.
So angry how
Oh yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to know what clue we got?
I would love to know.
Instead of Mel Gibson.
My father is Thor. My cousin is Bruce Willis.
Oh my gosh.
Slightly changes the elements of the game.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how you play a game where you climb through an elevator, ventilator shaft on Die Hard on a Thursday. Is Loki involved?
And I was like, but also it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because then we were like, what day is November 5th this year?
What was so bad is Emily got the November 5th reference
Vendetta immediately.
Right.
And I was like, oh, they got it. And then it just went sideways.
I overthought the Thor reference. I way overthought the Thor reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, without the Mel Gibson, I would have never gotten there. So,
Nice.
Yeah, that
Way
was
to go,
fun. That was
Dwayne.
really fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Hey.
getting
Thanks for
my,
saving that one for
my
me.
riddle.
Good job, Dwayne. Hey y'all, you heard another voice on the greetings just a second ago, and we've done a couple of recent episodes where we've had guest visitors from the Gleeful Meeple crew. We've got another one today with Miss Kristen.
Hi, everyone.
Kristen, how long have you been hanging out with Gleeful Meeple?
I've been in the group about 3 years now.
Wow, time flies.
So you were
man.
a post-COVID join.
Yes,
Okay.
it was 2021.
That's amazing. If someone had asked me if you were pre or post-COVID, I would have said
pre.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
That's
it feels like you've
that
been
kinda
around
makes
for a
me
hot
feel-
minute.
Someone made
nice.
that comment to me last night too. Just Kristen and I are that cool.
Yeah.
So Kristen has been in Nashville for about 18 years. But one of the things that I find very interesting about her is clearly she doesn't like Nashville very much because she does everything in her power to get away from Nashville as often as she can. How many vacations do you go on a year?
Not that many.
Okay.
I have only been on
7, 8.
technically
That's
two
a reasonable
vacations
number.
this year.
Yeah.
I just got back from Montana, which was absolutely gorgeous. It was everything I hoped it would be. And earlier this summer, I went to Michigan, where my dad is from, and we go visit family and see the sights from where he's from every few years.
What has been your favorite recent trip?
Yellowstone.
Really?
Oh, nice.
More than Iceland?
Okay, Iceland was last year. We're talking about
that's
this
recent.
year.
That's recent.
Everything post-COVID is recent.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so yes, Iceland was September of last year of 2023, and yeah, that was a great trip too.
Amazing.
Okay. Kristen, when you're at a board game event, what is your go-to game that you want to play more often than anything else?
The one that I've won the most is Block Us
Okay.
or
Yes.
Lunar. That's a new card game.
Okay.
I've yet to lose that.
You've never lost?
I have never lost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Different partners because it is a partner game.
Yeah.
But we have yet to lose.
Oh, you haven't played with me yet. I can fix that.
What is a game that
No, I'll help you lose.
when you see at an event, you're like, thanks, but no thanks. I will absolutely, I would rather do anything than sit down and play this game.
Anything that takes like 5 hours.
Give me an example of something you've played before that you will never touch again.
I was in the middle of a game a few years ago. I honestly do not remember the name of it, but it involved zombies.
Okay.
And just in learning the instructions, I tapped out 10 minutes into the instruction phase.
Oh, now we have a new game, which is figure out the zombie game.
Oh, so was
I
it
have a
Marvel
guess.
Zombies?
Okay, go
It
on.
was a Marvel, but I ended up playing it, got about halfway through the game and I just had to leave. I couldn't do it anymore.
I feel like it might be Dead of Winter.
That's how I was going to guess.
Yeah.
It did involve snow
Okay.
and cards and moving across the board.
That's got to be it.
Was there a trader mechanic?
I don't know what that means.
Was there someone working
Against the group.
Against the group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. We
Yep.
sussed it out, you all. Good
Look
job.
at
Winter.
Good
The
job.
detective team of Gleeful Meeple. So you mentioned Lunar. Would you say that you're more of a card gamer than a board gamer?
Oh, yes. I grew up playing card games.
Okay.
That's what I lean into.
What were some of your favorites growing up?
We played Wild Rummy constantly. When I go home to visit family, we will probably get 8 games or more of Wild Rummy in. We played King's Corners, 31, Tripoli, Hand and Foot, Canasta, Cribbage.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
That's a card classic game playing family right there.
You know, I don't run into a lot of people who've played Canasta, and I remember when growing up, I had a friend in 7th grade who that was his parents' Friday night thing. They had friends over and played Canasta. I learned through them. I love that game. It's a solid card game.
I remember I was probably 3 or 4 at my aunt's house, sneaking downstairs, in my footy pajamas. And my parents were playing cards with my cousins and aunts, and, we weren't allowed to be in there, but I always wanted to be at that table.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of those types of games can be very regional. Are there any from your area that you think are the most probable that folks haven't heard of before?
So I'm from Mississippi originally, but my parents are both Yankees. My dad's from Michigan. My mom's from North Dakota.
I think I know where the Michigan one is going here. We'll see.
Tripoli, yes.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, okay.
Also, King's Corners, I think, is a northern game. 31, I learned from my aunts in North Dakota. Cribbage, I don't know. I feel like they all are sort of northern games. I didn't really learn anything in the South from Southern people.
What is going on in the South that we don't have regional card games?
I know. I was
I think
thinking
you're
about
right.
that. I was like, I think we have other games, like, I don't know, gambling or something. I don't
Okay.
know. Like
I think during the Civil War, the North took all the cards away and said, no, this will not stand.
that was
aggression
actually
will
the
not
result
stand.
of the Civil War.
I know
History
a
lessons
Southern
with
one.
JK.
Spades.
Is that Southern?
That's Southern?
I did grow up
learned
playing
that.
it, and
I
I'm from
learned
the
that in
South.
high school from friends,
Yeah.
not family, not
Yeah. I did
Cousins.
not grow up with spades. No.
That's how is Wild Rummy different than Rummy?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I was curious, and then we got distracted. Yes, Kristen, tell us.
So, Wild Rummy, you play 13 hands.
13 hands.
Yes. So, each hand is a different wild card. You start out with the ace as wild, then 2s, all the way through kings.
Oh.
And it's different in that you are trying to get rid of your cards and you're trying to have the less number of points.
Okay.
What is on the table does not count for you. That just counts as getting cards out of your hand.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to play on anyone else's hand until you yourself have laid down. You can replace wild cards with their normal card in the play and take the wild card and use it for yourself.
Okay.
So at the end of the 13 hands, whoever has the lowest score is the winner.
But dedicated 13 every single game
Yes.
with different wilds each hand.
Yes. My best score, 1.
After all 13 hands.
Yes.
Wow.
Impressive.
That is impressive.
So your score is cumulative. 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 I had the syllabus on the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Words are the worst.
Cumulative.
Yes.
So after all 13, you only had 1.
Yes.
Dang.
Wow.
Do you remember which round you got that one in?
I don't, but I have a picture of it somewhere.
So you've grown up playing games in various regions of the U.S., and I'm assuming various groups of people, whether it be friends or family. Do you ever find that, were you more in situations where you were teaching rules or someone was teaching you rules, or that like you realize halfway through the game you know different variations?
I didn't know that there was another version of Rummy until I joined this group.
Whoa.
One of the members taught me Rummy 500.
That's the one I grew up playing. Yeah. Maybe we do have Southern cards. No, I learned it from my grandma who is from Chicago.
I had gin rummy.
Yeah.
Was what I grew up
I've
with.
heard of that one.
Oh.
You just drink martinis
you
while
drink,
playing.
you drink gin.
Oh,
while
that's
playing.
right. Okay.
That's the difference.
No, I think I just always, that's funny. It's like I'm coming to realizations now as we talk. I feel like gin rummy was always the default rummy in my head, but I don't even know if that's the rules that I played by. Like I only ever just played rummy and we just went from there.
Well, it's interesting you talked about the different ways of learning games and the nuances between them. My wife's family grew up playing rummy, and they're from Virginia. I'm from northern Indiana. I was a diehard euchre player.
Yeah.
And when I try and explain euchre to my in-laws, it's a total blank slate. They have no grasp of what a trick-taking game is.
That's
like they're lost.
My brother-in-law, I think euchre is one that he liked really well. Like that was like a northern-southern divide where it's like, he's like, yeah, I come to the South and no one's ever played euchre.
My dad is a huge fan of euchre. And he gets very upset that he has no one to play euchre with.
That's when you said Michigan. That's where I thought you were going.
I was like, Dad, you taught us all the games we play. So if you don't have anyone to play euchre with, that's on you because you didn't teach us how to play.
The variations of card games always fascinate me because it feels so oral tradition. I actually just got a book at McKay's like a while back. That has like just 150 card game rules and it's like all written down and whatever. Like I remember growing up going camping every October and we played this game called Kimps and it's like, who knows what other names that goes by and how many people actually play it nationally. But and like there's a game going around our group right now and it's like,
which we can't name online by its casually used name.
But the censored version is that it's called Karma. But some people might know it by a different name.
We call it
three card game.
We'll call it Poopy Head.
But that's a different game.
Okay.
So it's like, Poop Head is the most accurate translation for this podcast. But it's like, I grew up playing that and then it's like got to the group and it's like, this number has a special rule. Like that number doesn't have that special rule. And it's like, I actually found it in that book I found at McKay's and it has both variations listed. It's like, if you're going to play with this variation, do this to kind of mitigate it. But it's like, it just like the oral tradition fascinates me. It's like, like we've just been playing this for generations.
So you mentioned when you came to the game group that you were surprised to discover a new version of Rummy.
Yes.
Were you also surprised to come to a game night where did you have any expectations that you were going to see some of those classics and then you show up and it's like, what is all this
We're
stuff?
not playing poker and Go Fish. And
like, what was your expectation coming into that first visit?
I honestly didn't know what to expect. At the time, all of the gaming events were quote unquote themed.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't have to bring or play any games associated with the theme. It was just a funny pun. Mm-hmm. So I didn't go to like the first two that I saw online because I thought, I don't know anything associated with that. I wouldn't fit in. So I finally made myself go to Fat Bottom because it's a mile from my house.
Okay.
I was like, you have no excuse not to go. I knew nothing. I saw tables piled with games I had never heard of, never seen. I didn't know what was going on. I sat down with a group of people that were playing Coup.
Yeah.
Oh, what an introduction.
Wow.
I was about to say that was one of my
hate
first
that
games.
All right.
I did not enjoy that. But I did have fun that night. So I came back and have repeatedly come back.
Do you enjoy bluffing games in general, like where you are trying to outwit the other player by outright lying to them in cases?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's interesting that you don't like, because I think Coup is like a boiled down bluffing game because it lasts about 15 minutes.
Pretty short.
Yeah.
But you've got to understand that was my first time.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I didn't know how to maneuver around it.
Yeah.
If it's cards, I can lie about what cards I have in my hand. I can bluff about what I have all day long.
But like you have this role and you're this character and all of that. That's a way different twist than things you may have grown up with, right? In a standard deck of cards.
I have gotten better at Secret Hitler.
Oh, yeah.
in being a little shady. Like, I want people to think I'm bad, even if I am good, just because I want to throw them off.
So seeing that you had the courage to stick with it and keep showing up to events, I will say that modern board games, right, compared to classic card games, it's pretty jarring difference. But there have been a lot of games lately that have been kind of squeezing in those classic game mechanics into newer games. And I'd be curious, do you have any that stand out to you that give you that feel of those classic card games?
Yes. Cat in the Box, Scout, Trio, Lunar.
Yeah, all those are great.
I'm going to have to put Trio and Lunar on my list because I have not played either
Oh,
of
they're
those.
so fun.
Okay.
I really
brought
like
both.
Lunar
Okay.
because that's like it. I feel like card games, like the classic card games, like I feel like there's just so many trick-taking games, and that's just like a really easy mechanic to just, I think, build on and add
So when
a
I
theme
try to explain it to people, the rules, I'm like, okay, have you ever played spades? And you get a yes or no. Yes, great in helping teach the game.
Yeah.
If it's no, it's a little bit more tricky.
Yes.
Trick-taking games are tricky is what you're saying?
Yes.
The moment, whenever you're teaching something based on a trick-taking game and you're like, have you played spades? No. Have you played a trick-taking game? No. Well, this is going to be fun for everyone involved.
And yet my partner and I still win.
Hey, very nice.
In preparation for this, I kind of started thinking about, card games at our events. And even though we're a board game group, I think we very consistently see card games coming out. And what's interesting about it too is there's hundreds, thousands of board games out there, and even the most popular games we kind of see circle in and circle out and pop up every now and then in our group. But it seems like when we find a card game we like, it is always there.
Yep.
It
I
stays
think
for
about
a while.
year it was Scout.
We were seeing 2 and 3 tables playing
Yeah.
Scout at
And
a
there
time.
was 2 copies of Scout at an event recently.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah. And now Poophead has kind of taken over and
Yes.
become the game that we see at almost every event, even more than Blood on the Clock Tower recently. I think that's the one that's kind of taken over.
all
as
the storytellers have been busy.
Yeah, that's the one that kind of takes over as the dominant game. I think there's a faction within our group, much like Kristen, that probably lean more towards the card gaming side than board gaming.
Well, I think there's also an area, because before that, it wasn't a card game, but same idea, Rummy Cube. I mean, there was like a solid year and a half where like multiple tables of Rummy Cube, which is, click little tiles that are coming out, but it's that same style of, it's a version of Rummy essentially, was being played all the time. And I just think there's this space for 15 to 20 minute games that squeeze in between other things. And if you're coming, it's after work, you're coming to, all of our events are at, breweries, pubs and whatnot, and you just want to like relax. You don't always want a crunchy euro.
I don't understand.
That's
Dwayne, some people.
That's what James brings up a good point. Kristen, you grew up with card games, so like there's obviously like nostalgia, good memories attached to them. What keeps you coming back to card games and expanding out into these like hobby card games like Scout and Lunar and whatnot?
I think a lot of the new games base their rules on the classics. Have you ever played Skip-Bo?
Yes.
That
was a classic.
Very
with
similar
my grandmother
to
and I.
King's Corners.
One of us hates that one. Was it you, Dwayne?
I do
Yes.
not care for. Well, no, it's not Skip-Bo as much as the other Phase 10.
You don't like Phase 10?
No.
I enjoyed Phase 10.
I need
growing up.
I need more than. I don't want my only decision to be what card should I discard. Like, there's got to be more for a game to me. It's one of those. It's in that family of games where I will play just because everybody else is playing, and I'd rather play something than nothing. And if I can't squeeze, hey, if you like this game, why don't we try this? If that's not working out, I'll sit down and play it. But yeah, not a fan of that style.
Fair enough.
I mean, one of my favorite, I don't know if I'd call it reinventions of a classic card games, but I don't remember seeing this a lot in the older games, is co-op trick taking. There's
Okay.
been a couple, like the Quest or the Crew Quest for Planet 9 and the other one.
Inside Job was another one.
Inside Job is another one. But have you played any of those? Have you
No.
played the Crew yet?
No.
Oh, we gotta get
you on
in
the Crew.
Yeah, that is a very interesting game.
Limited communication, cooperative trick taking game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. But yeah, the modern versions, like you were mentioning, Kristen, some of these, even the card games, but even some board games, I think, take from these classics and just re-implement the ideas behind them. Mm-hmm. And that's a great version of that.
James, do you have any card games that we haven't mentioned that are your favorites?
I don't play outside of our events. I don't think I own a lot of card-only games. I guess it's not. No, I wouldn't consider that. I was going to say Parade, but that's not really.
That's a card game.
It's absolutely
it is a card game. Yeah. Well, I guess it is. It's set collection. So
it's only cards. I don't know.
Well, yes, it's only cards, but is it that kind of card game where it could be considered the classic style? And I guess it kind of is, because you all have your own hand of cards. You're working towards the similar goal of set collection and stuff. So Parade has been a standout. I think lately it's fun.
Emily, you?
I grew up with Dutch Blitz, which if you buy the bicycle company version, it's called Nertz. And so that kind of has a rummy or a solitaire element. And then I guess it's all solitaire elements, but it's you're trying to get rid of your Blitz pile the fastest. So I grew up with that. Grew up playing rummy. Skip-Bo was a classic for my grandmother and I. As she got older, it was just an easier game for us to play together. And so that one is a nostalgia factor. I don't think I would play that in an event if it were out. But I found myself gravitating to the hobby card games. I really enjoyed Scout when I first got introduced to it. And now I'm blanking on other card games. But I think the appeal for me is you can just throw them in your bag. The Mind is a cooperative game where it's just all you have to do is play your cards in order from lowest to highest, but there's 5 of you and you can't talk. And so it's if I have a bunch of card games in my game bag, I can fit 20 games, easy peasy. And so you have the variety while not having a lot of space.
Mm-hmm. Dwayne, how about you? Anything we haven't mentioned?
I'm going to give a shout out to Arum, which was a Gen Con. Yeah. That's a 2023 Gen Con purchase for me. I got to play it one night. I was like, this is really good. And my family does like card games, so I grabbed it. An interesting take on the trick-taking mechanic there. Also, I'm going to say this real quick, because in my mind, when I say card games, I think about things that are played with a standard deck of cards,
right? And
everything else kind of falls into a board game category for me. Because listen, if I take a board game and I take the board out and I use an neoprene mat, I don't call it a mat game. It's still a board game. So in my mind, that's the delineation. So I am, but I understand the assignment, so I will stay on task.
How about you, JK? Any recents?
I think a couple that were hot for a while at our events were Six Nimmt. Or Takes. I think it's Take Six.
That's a really good. That's a fun little game.
That's a fun little game. Sea Salt and Paper is another.
That one's a really good one.
Still on my to-play list.
Yeah, but probably you stole Parade for me. That was going to be one on my list. But out of that same company,
that's why you defended it so much. That's a card game.
Yes. Arboretum. I think Arboretum is a brilliant game where you're trying to make a path of trees in one of several different suits. But at the end of the game, you want the most powerful trees on the board to score you points. But at the end of the game, you're also scored on the cards you have remaining in your hand. So you want to retain a powerful one to be able to score the ones on the field. It's a weird balance.
It can be brutal at the end game.
Yeah.
You can think you're doing okay, and then you get nothing.
Yeah.
I will say, if you're interested in card games, you can just tell from the numbers of games we're listing here, they've really had a resurgence, I think, in the last 5, you could say 10 years. They've never gone away, but I feel like the last 5 years, a lot of modern card games based on these classic mechanics have been coming out. But then also, a great place to find unique little small box card games is Japan, actually. They're huge on trick-taking games. When you go to markets in Japan, it's a ton of just small card games.
Yeah.
And many of the ones we're getting here are just being rethemed from games that were released in Japan just a few years ago. So it's not the most easy market to tap into, but trick-taking games are huge there right now.
I've also seen a resurgence recently of companies that are going out and making high-end deluxe standard card packs.
Mm-hmm.
Foil lined, embossed, they're gorgeous. but then they're asking like $50 for a deck of cards. So
That's actually like, I started collecting keychains as a middle schooler, as middle schoolers are wont to do. And somewhere along the way, I switched to decks of cards.
Yes.
So I own about probably 30 to 40 decks of cards just from places I've visited.
I was going to say I own 23 decks of cards.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like they're just super easy to collect. It's you find when you go for the touristy ones, they're actually horrible quality. And so I'm like, I don't think I'm going to play like spoons or like Egyptian rat slap or whatever, anything where it's like going to be very easy to get damaged, but they're nice to.
Sorry. I got a few while traveling, but most of the ones that I have are ones that people have given to me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or that I've bought because they've got really neat designs. Like I've got an Elvis Presley deck.
Nice.
Love.
I love that.
That's a great second little kind of collection hobby if you're into card games, right? To have a card deck collection. Like I have a few nice ones that are Lord of the Rings themed and stuff, but it makes sense if you're way into card games to, it's kind of your own little mini collection in a collection, like the board game collection and then the sub collection, which is just card decks.
I think the only card decks that I own are ones that I've been given free at like corporate junkets and things like that. And I look at them and go, when did I get this?
So if you were going to bring out to a game night, one of our events, a deck of cards, and you wanted to play, let's your top 2 quick to the table card games that you can play with a standard deck of cards, what are your favorites?
Well, it has to be Wild Rummy, just because that's what my family always plays. And Lunar is so much fun. I think everyone should try it, see if you can beat me. Not really, because I like my winning streak. But yeah, I always bring those 2. I always have a deck of cards in my bag at the gaming events.
Lunar's an all-play game, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It was one of the set of 4 trick-taking games they came out with last year. It was probably, when I broke them out and started playing with everybody, I think Lunar was the most popular one. It's unique in that you're playing as a team, but each of you has to play. You're not kind of like euchre, where you're playing a card, you're trying to take the trick, but one of you plays a value and the other one plays a color.
The suit. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to tandem up to make one combination of cards that's going to beat your
Oh, that's
competitors as well.
interesting.
That's what I think the other like interesting thing about Lunar is that there's this like star track, and so your strategy might be to like win 3 tricks and then lose the rest of them because that'll push the other pair of people into like the 0 area of the star track. And it's like you just keep playing rounds until one of the pairs has like 30 points.
Yeah, it's a trick-taking game with a lot to balance.
Like with a twist. Yeah.
It's a twist.
Well, if you come out to one of our events and you see Kristen there, know that she's up for a challenge to take you on in Wild Rummy or Lunar. The challenge has been laid. Sit down, play a card game, and man, thanks for joining us today, Kristen.
Yeah, it's been great having you, Kristen.
I enjoyed it. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, listeners, this game of the show is World Wonders. World Wonders was published in 2023 and published by Arcane Wonders. That's fitting. The designer is Z. Mendez and art by Odysseus Stromoglau and Tom Ventra. It plays 1 to 5 players, but it's at its most gleeful at 3 players. At this point, as usual, I will pass it over to JK, but I was absent for this game, so you may not hear my voice very much on this one. Take it away, JK.
We'll try and include you as much as we can, Dwayne. I mean, we don't want to excise you from the game,
Fair enough.
You're just too wonderful.
Yeah. World Wonders, it's a polyomino game. What the heck is a polyomino game? You are playing on a grid, just like a map, a grid sheet of squares, and you are trying to find the most optimal way to plug pieces onto that board to make them fit without exceeding the outer edges of the space, trying to cover up as much space as you can. This game features a variety of scoring methods and bonuses depending on what you are playing, but one of the key things in the game is you have a limited number of moves you can make each turn based on the cost of the moves involved. As a general rule, you have $7 to spend each turn, although you can get an additional bonus of $2 through a loan, but that can come back to bite you later. Most of the moves cost very limited amounts. Buying a little piece of road costs you 1. Buying a very small building costs you 1. Buying something larger, 3, 4, maybe even 5. And ultimately what you are trying to do is get these world wonders, which are lovely little pieces to add to your board. They cost you whatever you have left. So in a game where you really have a world wonder that you want to buy and you're sitting on $7 left, it's super pricey. If you manage to play your turn where there's only $1 left in your bank and you can get that world wonder, that's great, but you got to hope that one of the other players doesn't steal this out from under you before it happens. There's a lot of things to factor in. Some bonus tokens come into play to figure out how scoring looks at the end, but really it's whoever fills their board the best. And that's world wonders. Now I wonder, how did we do?
How did we do?
Well, I think this might be the second time in our show's history that we may have hit an asterisk game.
Ooh.
We had a little bit of a brain break. I know I did a couple times.
Are you talking about the parking lot that you built on your board?
No.
Did you pave paradise and put up a parking lot?
I did put a ton of roads down because one of our objectives was sets of like each segment, each tile that you can put on your board, like there's 5 different colors. And so one of the end game objectives was to have each of the 5 fully enclosed.
You're making districts.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a cheat sheet of like, there's a very specific, not a lot, but very specific rules as to how you can place all of the tiles.
For example, if you place a road, it has to connect to another road.
Yes.
Or the sidewalk or a tower.
Yes, which is the edge of your screen, edge of your board. And then there are guard towers or watch towers. Do they just call them towers?
Towers.
I'm over elaborating on tower. If you place a tower, it essentially almost starts as a wild spot that you can start from again throughout the board.
And so I had a few issues. I was trying to enclose some of my like district tiles, and I'm like, okay, I'll just put a road here, and that'll put a cap on that. And then there's like no other road in sight. And so JK is like pointing over the table, like, you can't do that.
Invalid.
And then, we had found out like halfway through the game that like James had an invalid placement.
Guys, I'm telling you. So my first play of this, it did not happen to me, but it happened to somebody else. And in preparation for recording tonight, I was just going through the BGG listing, just reviewing stuff, and went through the pictures and scrolling through the pictures and saw a picture of someone's board. And I looked at it, I was like, that's not a legal road placement. And then scrolled down in the comments for that particular picture, and someone posted, is that far leftmost road legal to? I was just like, okay, this happens to everybody.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's deceptively challenging.
One of the other elements when you're going after these world wonders, which I'm going to say for me, that's the standout element of the game. Those pieces that represent each of the world wonders were beautiful. Mm-hmm. And James, when you opened the box, there was just bag after bag after bag of world wonders. And I was like, this is really cool. I'm going to dig this. Each of the wonders has very specific rules for placement. Okay. So not only are you trying to consider how can you place your roads, how can you place your buildings, what do you do with these towers when they come in, you also have things you're trying to navigate around on your board. But then...
So it's like, can I even fit the Great Wall of China onto my board?
Can I do this specific world wonder, or should I focus on a different one?
Yeah, this world wonder wants to be next to a blue tile, next to a green tile, and at least one piece of it be on water. This one wants to be on each end of it, like an aqueduct, needs to be on land, but has to cross over water. This one needs, and it's just they all have these different requirements, and so you're constantly trying to take that in consideration while also trying to fill polyomino pieces, efficiently, and it's a lot to trying to plan for ahead of time. And right when you have the perfect setup, someone swipes it away. Yep. And they get it before you, because there's always 3 wonders available to be built at any given time. So everybody's kind of, they all see the requirements, they all see the available tiles, and you're almost going for a race for some of these things. And to JK's point earlier, when he said like there was bags and bags of these, when one gets taken, it immediately gets refilled. And so, I mean, they are these really beautifully fully painted, chunky wooden molded representations of all these world wonders. And your board ends up being filled just with all these 3D pieces, and it's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Like JK said in his rules explanation, that world wonder costs the rest of your money. So it's this game of like, how long can I wait and still get what I want? Like, how much is it really worth?
You're playing chicken with the other players.
It
basically.
is chicken.
And you're kind of looking at their boards going, can they even fit that in anywhere on
Do
their
they have
spot?
that color
like, do
tile?
They have that color tile? Is there an open spot? Can they cross water with this? They can't do that. And then you think you've got it made, and then you go, oh, no, they can. Oh, no.
Yeah. That's what So I've been thinking about like how I play board games, and with my recent addiction to Board Game Arena, playing a lot of online games just is as we've talked about many times before, is just a different experience. And I find that in my online gaming, I've started focusing less and less on what my players are doing. And so I've seen that kind of start to infect like my real life gaming, and it's like you learn so much.
To your detriment.
Yes, to my detriment. It's like I was able to nab a world wonder before JK. So it was like I was able to do some of those kind of like gotcha like turns in our experience. But like, yeah, like that's an important element to this in helping weigh like your decision-making process.
Yeah, do I waste an entire turn going for this? Not waste. Do I use an entire turn going for this blue tile to help me get that wonder? And then you look over and see, oh no, they have all the requirements already. Slim chance they're not going to be doing that. So let me use my turn for something else instead. So yeah, if you're not paying attention to the other players, this isn't a take that kind of heavy game really, but what other people are doing does matter, because you're all going. I mean, the core of the game is trying to build these wonders.
Or if you see that I can do it too, do you grossly overpay for it to stop me from getting it?
Or do you? Or
spend all your
can
money.
you not backtrack? Can you go to plan B?
Yeah.
You all know, you all have a pretty good idea of what I play and the kind of games I play. Is there anything that you could associate it with? Anything that it's close to that I might be familiar with?
I mean, the polyomino element, anything patchwork, Isle of Cats, anything along those lines where you're trying
cartographers.
where you're trying to fit puzzle pieces in.
That's what I was thinking of Alhambra, where
that's not even a bad comparison. Yeah.
You have, like, in Alhambra, everyone's going just for the most amount of a colored building in their tile placement. But the tile placement really, really matters in Alhambra.
Okay.
And so that might limit you in your decision making and money and whatever in that game. And in this game, it's like, yeah, you have the end game objectives that like everyone's trying to go for, and very specific tile placements.
Okay. Thank you.
It's also finite number of turns, 9 rounds.
Or
is it 9 or 10? I forget how large the stacks are. I want to say 10.
You're basically playing through a stack of tiles available on the board. If you finish the round and nobody's bought the ones that are available, those go away and you move on to the next one.
So the stacks are the timer.
Yeah, so you're on a clock.
Or what was the other endgame condition? It's if the stacks run out. Or if somebody gets to the end of their population track. So
that's right.
The other piece of this game is
there's
when
3 tracks to manage.
Yeah, well,
4 technically.
4 technically, yeah. But the other 3 manage the fourth one in a sense. So all these different colored tiles you're putting out, the Tetris, the polyomino shaped kind of pieces, they all have little icons on them that tell you how many spots up that resource track you get to go. You have 3 different tracks that kind of represent civilization stuff, but it's just it doesn't matter really what it is. So I play this tile down, I go 2 up on the red track. Play this tile down, I go up 2 on the red, 1 on the blue, and so on and so forth. You have red, blue, and a third one. I think it's yellow maybe. And as you go up those tracks, you hit certain mile points that have population iconography. Okay. And if you cross over that population iconography, you go up on the population track.
I see.
And as you go up the population track, there's if the entire length of the track, the last 3 spots each have a victory point marker. So if you get to there, you get victory points.
Okay.
So if any player gets to the very end, triggers end game, or if the polyomino stacks run out and you've gone a full it's 9 or 10. I forget what it is. You know,
Yeah.
rounds, the game ends.
So that's just like another variable in your decision-making process, because at the end of the game, you score whatever the lowest track is. So if you
Interesting.
really focused on one,
It's not necessarily helping you.
yeah.
Okay.
And so that's why I liked that one of our objectives was like get all 5 colored districts enclosed, because I'm like, okay, well, that'll force me to get one of every color, and one of every color is more likely to kind of evenly spread out between those 3 tracks.
Okay, got you.
Yep. But I mean, it's just one of those spatial awareness games, spatial recognition, where you're trying to lay things down on a grid efficiently and not have these weird gaps you got to fill. Not forget the rules and place roads wrong, and make the most of this space that you have to work in.
Yep.
All the while trying to build in these really nice, chunky wooden, that's the best word I can think of to describe it, because they're so nice.
It's so satisfying to hold them.
Yeah. And some of them are like the pyramids of Egypt are 3 separate pieces.
Oh, nice.
Some of them are actually like multiple pieces for the one wonder.
I had the Easter Island heads that had to be spaced out a certain way across
It's like
land.
I had the Great Wall of China.
Yeah, very family weight game. I mean, nothing too complicated. The most complicated part of it would probably just be the ever-changing requirements of the wonders.
Yeah.
So really young kids might have a challenge with that if the constant requirements are changing and they're trying to, but I was doing this, now I have to do this. But other than that, I mean, it's not a difficult game to understand, really pretty to look at, and overall, I think really well designed.
So through my life, I have had the I don't know if it would be the pleasure, but I've had the fortunate ability.
Okay.
I don't even know what word I'm looking for
I've
here.
had the opportunity.
I've had the opportunity to take several IQ tests.
Mhm.
And one of the things that has been revealed through all of the IQ tests that I've taken is that I am particularly strong at viewing and understanding spatial dimensions.
Okay.
So when you hand me a polyomino game, and James, I knew this was your game. So when we sit down and I see we're playing a polyomino game, cool. James has probably played this before, so I'm going to assume that I'm going to lose against him. But I've got a decent shot of beating Emily. And then I watch Emily proceed to build the hugest pre-Renaissance parking lot that has ever been assembled.
I called it my walkable city.
Yeah. As soon as she did that, I was like, yeah, she's toast. I've got her. I've just got to worry about James now. Well,
And then guess what, Dwayne?
yeah, you want to know where JK finished in the rankings
Oh,
here?
I think I feel where this is
Yeah, third
Wow.
out of 3.
But you are the only one who played correctly and followed the rules with no asterisks.
Is that a
That's
moral
interesting.
victory now?
No, I fixed mine during my turn.
I did
So-
fix mine too. But
So that was highly
After
frustrating.
the offending turn.
That was highly frustrating, and I did feel like through.
How dare you underestimate me?
I felt like through the first.
Perhaps next time he will estimate you.
I felt like through the first half of the game, I was doing a pretty good job of building efficiently and kind of placing things where I wanted to be. Once I realized that I was in trouble, the back half of the game was like, just throw crap on the map, get it out there, and
Which
see
is
if I can get
really
any
where I
points.
started to lock in. After they made fun of me for my parking lot, I was like, okay, I see you. Like, let's dial in.
Yeah. So that said, after at least my first play of this game, I have no idea how to win this game.
What was the point disparity between Emily and JK?
that's a mighty fine question, Dwayne.
Have you got that?
I do.
Let's get some stat music in here.
I know. I lost to James by like 4 points. Point disparity was. I lost to James by 1 point. JK lost to me by 6 points.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of points in this game?
I felt pretty far behind.
Yes. If
So it's really made me question the whole IQ test things that I've taken through my whole life. Do I really understand spatial dimensions at all? Should I just go with man, woman, person, cow, TV, or whatever it is?
Well, you are getting up there in
I am,
age as
I
well,
am.
JK.
Yeah.
Can you just draw a clock for me real quick?
I will. Digital
Oh,
clock?
yeah, that's a thing. Yeah.
Digital or analog?
You know what? There's something I've never heard. What if you just draw a digital clock and you're like, mission accomplished? I outsmarted you, test man.
That's probably my biggest complaint of the game is that I enjoyed the act of playing it, but looking back, I have no idea what I would do different to make my game performance any better.
Same. So to your point, I've played this twice now, and I got it because it got really well received a year ago, and I'm trying to decide honestly. I want to be excited about it. I want it to be a keep it to play, but after our play, I think it might be a trade it away because I just don't know how to go about it from a strategic perspective.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun family game.
It was a fun activity.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but when I play it, I'm just kind of going through it, and it is very pretty afterwards, and it's fun to play. But maybe I just don't need to approach it from a strategic mindset and just do it to have fun and not care about winning. And from there, it's great. But I don't know. The other part of it, it's a polyomino game, and I bought it knowing that I was a little burnt out on polyomino games. I have my favorite, which is Cartographers, and I don't know if I need this one to fill any gaps in my collection. So
Cartographers is hard to beat. It's
Yeah.
a really, really solid game.
Yeah.
And it plays quickly, and it plays a lot of people well.
yeah,
For me, it is also a trade it away. Although if I do trade it away, I might try and find a way to smuggle the wonder components out of the box before I get rid of it.
Just put them on a shelf.
Yeah, just hide them away.
put them through a wood chipper and put them back in the box.
There you go.
For me, it is a keep it to play. I would like to play it at least one more time, knowing with beyond a shadow of doubt that I placed everything correctly. I think the variability in the end game objectives and the variability of you don't know which wonders are going to come out when. I feel like I got a few plays left in me.
Wouldn't that be saying you wonder when the wonder wonders?
If a wonder
If a
could
wonder
wonder.
wanders onto the board, I wonder.
But yeah, so I think it has a few more plays with me. Like James said, great family game. I would love to play this when my niece and nephew are just a little bit older and maybe can understand spatial awareness and spatial reasoning a little bit better. But yeah, no, it's I feel that the hobbyist board gamer in me is a little bit lukewarm about it, even though just the fun side of my brain is no, you did have fun playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of it anytime soon. I am going to play it a couple more times just to make sure I'm not it's not missing anything. 'Cause, I mean, it really is being well received by lots of people. So, and I do like. I don't always need a heavy strategic game. I don't want that to be the point that's coming across. I do like lighter games and fun games and medium weight games. Actually, medium weight games are kind of my wheelhouse. Me and JK have very similar gaming tastes in that regard. But yeah, this one, the two times I played it, I'm like, man, it just isn't giving me the feels.
We should try it with Dwayne and see how it works out.
Yeah, I would definitely give it a try. And sometimes it's just hard. You play a game and it's there are so many things that fit this space better. Why would I keep this game? So I definitely understand where you're coming from there. Well, it sounds like we are going to give World Wonders a 1 out of, I guess we
3.
can still do 4 at the moment.
1 out of 3, but it's an asterisk that we had 2 asterisks earlier, so there we go.
But
It
yeah,
is an asterisk laden game.
I'd love to give this a play, and maybe we do a quick give my thoughts on a later episode. Well, it sounds like I think James, you were the winner of World Wonders. What are we playing for our game of the show?
Well, guys, do I have a surprise for you?
Ooh.
I like surprises.
It's a game that's been mentioned a couple of times in the past all of our episodes.
We're doing Monopoly?
We're doing Monopoly.
Oh, jeez.
That would be real funny, but that's not where we are tonight.
So bringing in the DNA of Grand Austria Hotel,
Okay.
We are playing Darwin's Journey.
Oh, all right. One of my favorite designers.
From building civilizations to tracking evolution.
But I'm convinced we can win Emily over with this designer series of games.
Nice.
So I'm going to
All
give
right.
it a fair shot with Darwin's Journey.
Okay.
All right,
excited.
you
I'm
brought up
excited.
Grand Austria Hotel, so we shall see.
This is going to be a new one for me. I've not played this. I don't know that I've actually seen it. So
It's a little beige. It's a little Euro, but it's got a lot going on and a great theme with Darwin's evolution, retracing the steps. I'm excited for you guys to play it.
okay.
All right. Well, Gleeples, if you have any thoughts on Darwin's Journey, you can send us an email at pod@gleefulmeeple.com for a chance to have your comments read on the air.
So I think we've talked enough about games that it's time to play a game on air. No, not board games, a game about board games.
All right.
This week, I have a game. And this is inspired by a lunch conversation that we had over the weekend at Tennessee Game Days. You might have heard of this game before. We were going to play Never Have I Ever Board Game Edition.
All right.
I need this explained to me because I barely understood the rules at lunchtime.
So, all the hosts, we're going to hold up a hand of 5 fingers, and we're going to go around a circle, and we're each going to say true Never Have I Ever statements. So, non-board game me, never have I ever been skydiving.
Okay.
If you have gone skydiving, you're going to talk into the mic one at a time so that the listeners can hear whether or not you have.
And then you would take your finger down.
Yes.
Okay.
And so then as soon as one person has gotten rid of all their fingers, that means they're the most experienced board gamer of the hosts.
Okay.
And they raise their fist in victory or failure. Empty hand is bad.
That
Empty hand is good. Just didn't like the way you said that.
You're still confused, aren't you?
I'll figure it out.
Wait, are we trying to get knocked out? Are we trying to knock out other
It's
players?
not necessarily good or bad. We're learning about each other, and by proxy, the listeners are learning about us.
Do I want to knock out the other players?
You can.
I think if it's a game, that should be the
Only
goal.
once your hand is
We
closed,
need to
though, because
try
that's
it.
when you have a
Yes.
fist.
Yeah, you have a fist, and then you knock out a player of your choice, and we have a winner.
Do I want to fist the other players?
We were doing so good. We were doing so
We were doing okay. We had
Let him have a mic again. Where are we picking that up from?
We're immediately
You-
cutting that out.
You can scrub that one. That's fine.
All right.
So, I will get us started.
Okay.
Never, ever, never, wow.
This is your game, Emily.
Never, ever, ever. Never have I ever backed a game on Kickstarter.
Okay, well, obviously, there's too many to list, so I'm going to go ahead and put my finger down for that
I
one.
have as well, so I'm out.
Yes, I cannot in good conscience say I
You've
have
never
not.
backed a game on Kickstarter?
I don't understand.
Game found? Nothing?
I almost did with Phantom Inc. Arcana,
Oh, okay.
and then I played it at Gen Con.
But then I played the game and decided it wasn't for me.
It wasn't worth kickstarting, at least.
Yeah.
I might buy it at
It was a
retail
hat on
eventually.
a hat, really.
Yeah.
It's a great... Phantom Inc. does not need any help. So.
Yeah. Now it's Dwayne's turn.
Wow. Okay.
A hat on a hat. I like that.
I may need a moment because I really didn't think this through very well.
So you can think about playing games. You can think about experiences you've had while playing games.
Sure.
Convention related.
Okay. Never have I ever been involved in a role-playing campaign. That means I've played adventures, but I've never played more than one adventure with the same character. Okay.
I have, because I was in at least 2 campaigns.
Yeah.
Which ones?
Pre-Gleeful Meeple.
But D&D for both of them?
D&D for both of them,
Okay.
yeah.
I've been part of a D&D campaign.
Wow.
I've only done one shots,
Yeah.
so I still have all 5.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, so we've got Emily at 5, Dwayne at 4, James and I are sitting at 3. Never have I ever owned a game based on either the Star Wars or Star Trek franchises.
Well, that's an interesting factoid.
Oh, Star Wars or Star Trek? I'm thinking through because I've gone through a lot of games, so I might not have owned it now, but have I owned it previously? No, I have not.
Wow.
Interesting.
All right.
I have not.
Well, I am looking at Star
your
Wars
your shelf totally
Rebellion
just helped me with this
on
one.
my shelf, and which is a perfectly cromulent game. I highly recommend it. So I will have to put a finger down for other reasons as well, but that's one that
All
I
right.
will always have.
Emily's at 5. The boys are all tied at 3.
All right. What could I do that would? Am I trying to trip you up? I don't know. We'll see. Never have I ever bought a copy of a game twice.
What's weird that you say this? That was almost the statement I was going to make.
No.
Oh, that's not good.
I literally just did this for the first time like 2 days ago. I bought the $10 Pandemic Legacy Season 1 that was at the flea market because my sister wants to try it out. And since I've already been spoiled on what happens in the first 2 months, I'm like, I'm just going to buy the $10 one and then cover up the plot twists so that she doesn't see them.
Okay. I had to put a finger down because I had lost my original copy of Lost Cities at some point. Ooh, on brand. And it's one of my favorite games to play with my wife, so I had to have a second copy. I had to get another copy of that.
So since that was going to be my question, I had to really ponder it. And I have owned games multiple times, but I believe in every case, I bought it, sold it, and then traded to get another one. So I don't believe I have bought the same game twice.
All right. So
Technicality.
that leaves us still at JK and I 3. Dwayne's down to 2.
Emily finally takes a hit and goes down to 4.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Oh, now I'm starting to think of all the things I have done. Never have I ever played a game that has lasted more than 5 hours.
Get out of here, Emily.
So Dwayne has.
Twilight Imperium and Battlestar probably takes him out.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I played a game of Grand Austria Hotel that almost went 5 hours.
No.
This weekend.
Really?
There were issues.
Oh,
yeah.
Margaritas were involved beforehand.
I don't think I have either. The closest I've probably come is Eclipse, which was not a 5-hour play.
Yeah, I played some long games.
I don't think I have.
I'm gonna say no as well.
Wow.
I mean, Arkham Horror First Edition goes long, but I've never had a 5-hour game of that. I don't think. So yeah, say no.
Okay, so here's how this is going to go. So I had something that was specifically going to target James,
But now it's gonna
then
target me.
Emily just gave me information that I can use against her, and I was like, that feels kind of cheap. But then she did that to me, so this is
So take that episode.
all's fair in this game. Never have I ever bought a used copy of a Legacy game.
I just said that in this conversation.
I know, but I was like,
Which is why it's being turned on you.
but I happen to know, I'm pretty sure James has as well, if I'm thinking right. Did you do Sagrada Legacy? Or
Oh crap! You're right. I hate you so
I
much.
reminded James that he has done that. So that was meant for you, but Emily was a bystander.
That's funny.
How did you phrase that statement?
Never have I ever bought a used copy of a Legacy game.
Then I am safe. I have traded for one.
That's
So
Wow.
pedantic, JK.
I'll give it to you just because, that's fair.
Yeah, I got
should-
Sagrada Artisans not too long ago, and it was easy to reset. So,
Yeah. It's going to be easier. That would be easier than Pandemic.
Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah.
And that's a game that you can the Sagrada Artisans. That's it. Sagrada Artisans is fun even if you're not playing the Legacy version of it. It's just fun to color in those stained glass windows with colored pencils. So it works. Even if you see a used copy of that game, pick it up. You won't regret it.
What do we got? Emily's down to 3. I'm at 3. Dwayne's at 1. James is at 2. This one might be too vague to knock anybody out, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Okay.
All right.
And when I say this, I'm not talking about going to a bar and playing trivia night. But
Go on.
never have I ever lost a packaged trivia game focused on music.
Oh,
No.
like that 90s trivia game that Meredith has?
If it's music focused, I don't know.
Never have I lost.
So specific.
Unless you know
packaged
something
music-
about
Like a Trivial Pursuit music
Yeah.
edition
Yeah.
or Beatles edition or any sort of like pub trivia that focuses heavily on music.
I don't think I've never owned I don't think I've
No.
ever owned a music focused trivia
All right.
game.
That's a no for me because I know myself.
I have several. Let me advise you, don't play them with me.
Yeah.
It's not going to end up fun for you.
Okay.
Okay. Never have I ever lost enough components of a game at a game outing that caused me to not be able to play the game anymore.
Does losing an entire game count?
Yes. Okay, so that is I have not done that, but I am currently missing a token in my Marvel Splendor that will be replaced with a quarter or something anytime I play it in the future.
Okay.
Dorian?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I did lose my copy of Lost Cities, and I can't prove that it was an event. But going back even further, I have lost a copy of Zombies from years ago that I'm pretty sure was at a con or something. So
I'm going to ask you to decide on this one because I might get eliminated on this one. I didn't actually lose any of the components, but the fear of losing the components on the possibility that people playing it may have lost them initially meant that game never came out of my house again.
No, that's different.
Okay.
Yeah. I almost went there.
yeah.
But I didn't.
But
Well,
yeah,
guys, guess
so
what?
that means Dwayne is our most experienced board gamer, technically.
knocked the frack out.
Yay.
Or we just know how to target him.
Yeah.
Really
both,
easily.
Maybe why
That
not
may
both?
be it.
Both
That
of
may
those
be
things
it.
could be true.
but it's been love. It's all in love.
That was fun. Good call on that one. We get to
Yeah.
learn a little bit about each other.
Hey, I think we're going to wrap up there for the night because
All right.
we're all tired. We've spent the whole
We did it.
weekend at TGD, Tennessee Game Days.
I played
for
18 games.
I played 19.
I played 4
About
games.
the same.
Yeah.
21, I think is what my count was.
3 days at the Franklin Nashville Marriott. We want to thank the people that organized this event. It was great. This might have been my favorite thus far.
Yeah.
Good event. Just lots of playing into the wee hours of the night. So we're tired. Our brains are a little muddy. We want to thank our sponsor for today, Showbiz Pizza.
That's a
I
good
knew I was
one.
going to get that reaction out of you.
Yeah.
Do
The
you-
Rockafire explosion.
Yep. Do you
band.
know who the founder of Showbiz Pizza was?
Do you think I know who
I was kind of hoping. Do you two know who the founder of Showbiz Pizza
Do
was?
you think? No, I don't.
Wow. So, after creating the Atari Corporation, Nolan Bushnell started a little pizza chain called Showbiz Pizza, which was the dominant interactive animatronic pizza chain until it was purchased and then subsequently shut down by Chuck E. Cheese.
So,
Yeah.
JK, I do know Nolan Bushnell created Chuck E. Cheese. He was the founder of that company. Did he?
Are you sure? Or
I am
are
sure
you?
about
Is
that.
that a piece of history you think is true?
Actually,
Well, to be truthful.
actually, I'm pretty sure that's correct. But I kind of wonder, because I have watched a little bit of history on it, because this is definitely my kind of rabbit hole I like to go down. I kind of wonder if he left Chuck E. Cheese and started Showbiz and then bought out Chuck E. Cheese. That sounds weird. Maybe this is something we can research and talk about at a future point, because it is an interesting little story.
Why wait till a future time? Let's look it up right now.
let's get Dr. Google on the
We're
line.
gonna Google.
We have the world of wonders at our fingertips.
Yes. So we're gonna look up Showbiz Pizza Place. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, I may have misstepped. It was founded by Robert L. Block and Creative Engineering, but it was purchased by.
While we're doing this,
It was purchased by Chuck E. Cheese, which was founded by Nolan Bush.
I was certain that Bushnell started Chuck E. Cheese. Also, does anybody know Chuck E. Cheese's full name?
Oh, I did know this at some point in
Is
time.
it Eugene?
Charles
E.
Eugene
Entertainment.
Charles.
That's
Entertainment.
right.
Yep, that was a fun factoid in middle school.
All right, there you go.
That's fun, guys.
That's how we get trivia wrong, because it wasn't a music trivia question, so that's why I wasn't great at it.
Well, it was really great getting to spend some time with you all tonight,
Yeah,
because
indeed.
I haven't seen you enough over the last 3 days.
Yep.
It was really wonderful.
It's true.
Yes,
It was
indeed.
wonderful.
Thanks for listening. If you do want to email us, it is at pod@gleefulmeeple.com, or we are found on Instagram at @gleefulmeeplepod. We're not on Threads. We're not on Threads yet, are we?
No.
No. Or, no X.
Snapchat?
Let's not go on X.
No.
We don't want to. We don't
No
want
blue
X.
sky
That's a
for
scary
us
place.
yet.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye, Gleeples.